Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 180 for April 6, 2016. My name is Russell Frost from WhatDrives.us. I am your host for this evening's festivities. My co-host Danny Cooper is eagerly waiting and anticipating the birth of his third child. Yes, he's a very virile young man. And we wish him all the best, of course, and his lovely wife Nicole. So I'm going to have to go it alone, but luckily alone is very loosely defined because I have 5 of my favorite alt-car experts with me this evening, and good friends, I would actually add. Even if they don't think of me that way, I think of them that way. So let's introduce them and get things going. On the far right, well, again, it always gets switched around. Our man in Canada, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Greetings from the Great White North, and looking forward to another great show tonight. So we've got a lot of stuff to go. Let's get going.
I like that attitude.
Attitude.
Next to him is also the man who's most geographically close to him on the map. Our man in Chicago, Mr. Tony Schaefer.
Hey everybody. Let's see, what do I have tonight? I have
You have beer, Tony.
I have beer. It is a dark ale. It's a unibrow.
Oh,
I will be unibrew. Yeah. So I will be enjoying this with my Boulder beer bottle opener.
Okay, so what is it though? Which one?
I don't know. I think
Hold
it's
up the label. I'll read it.
Put on your glasses and read.
It's this.
Oh, 3 Pistols. Yeah.
Okay. 3 Pistols. Yeah. It ain't American, so
It ain't American. Thank you.
They don't speak.
Donald Trump's going to build a wall around that beer.
Yeah.
They apparently don't speak U.S. over there.
No, apparently not. Apparently in Canada they speak another odd foreign language. And he's from Canada, but now he has the best hybrid in EV repair, reconditioning, and whatever shop in Boulder, Colorado. His name is Paul Guzik.
Hey, glad to be back. And today I'm drinking a rye IPA from New Belgium Beer with a cool graphic on the bottle, but I actually don't care for this beer that much, but it was in the fridge. And,
Another sponsor down the tubes.
Unfortunately, New Belgium just sold out. They were a cool craft brewery, and now they're big beer ownership, so not as cool as they could be. But.
So what you're saying is you just stepped on the big dollar sponsor that we never.
That's right. Yes, sorry.
Right on.
We just make friends everywhere we go.
Yeah, how many states now don't listen to us?
Exactly.
Russell, we need a map so we can put an X through the state as we go along.
16 states and Elon Musk will not return our phone calls. Yep. And we're very proud of that. And speaking of things we're proud of, we are proud of our man in the Pacific Northwest, Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello from Portland, and I'll try to put another X on the map where if you work for the city of Portland, you can now not travel to North Carolina.
Really?
Yes.
And Washington banned travel to Mississippi today.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. And frankly, I mean, I told Danny I'd come up there and, see the baby and hang out and help, but I can't.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. And
Sorry,
I swear I heard him breathe a sigh of relief. I don't know why. But, well, speaking of a sigh of relief, our big sigh of relief, our man in the Midwest, his name is Dr. Evan Fusco.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? I am drinking a brand new American Pale Ale called a Smash that I just tapped the keg tonight. I've been brewing for a couple of weeks here. It's not bad. Very hoppy. It could have used some filtering, but it still tastes great.
And you're wearing the shirt that I was wearing last week.
You got this one?
I have that exact shirt. Yeah, the Matt Inman.
I hope you washed it since last week.
Trust me, Evan and I wear a different size.
Okay. So the big news, I'm not having any babies, but my Tesla Model X just entered production yesterday.
Oh,
It'll be finished being built in the next 3 to 4 days, and then I have a long wait for the gestation as it travels by train from Fremont to Kansas City, which apparently requires a train and multiple stops in multiple cities, and then it ends up in Chicago where they stick it on a truck, and then they got to deliver it to Kansas City, where they then have to detail it and prep it for delivery, and then when it's ready, then they call me to schedule a date that we can make it up there to pick it up. So it's a process, but hopefully in the next month it'll be
in the next month, hopefully.
Yeah.
Now we know why Elon really wants the Hyperloop.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just to deliver these cars faster.
So I'm going to guess that there's someone's wife is really, really happy. Because that's her car, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Is she, the weight has really kind of, I don't know. I think it's affected her enthusiasm a bit, and then also, just shelling out the cash. She's the money manager of the household, and so it's a lot of money to part with, and she's having a hard time rationalizing it. So
yeah, you know what? She's going to sit in the driver's seat, and she'll be okay.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that the day she gets in it, everything I read is very, very positive.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to hear, because obviously, we'd love to hear that. Well, speaking of Tesla, okay, so hands up, who is on the Tesla Model 3 waiting list?
Ooh, 2 hands.
He's got 2 hands.
Wait. Guzik?
Guzik?
You're on the Tesla Model 3.
All right.
It's a refundable deposit, so you never know. Maybe I'll be able to afford it by the time it actually ships.
You realize it's like this half of the panel are now going to be Tesla owners. This half of the panel.
Well, we all want to be Tesla owners, just not all of us can be.
Yeah. I wouldn't argue with that.
Best chance yet.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that by the time I get around to buying a Tesla, it's going to be a 2015 Tesla.
In 2038.
Right, 2035. Yes, exactly. I will be the happy second owner of a 10-year-old Tesla someday.
Yeah.
And of the panel, when did you order it? How quickly were you able to order it?
How quickly?
Yes.
Oh, it took seconds. I did it the night of the reveal.
Online, yeah.
Actually, I did one. Both mine were online. I did one the night of the reveal. I told my wife about it the next morning, and and at first I got this look like, you did what, without talking to me first, and then I told her how much it was, and she goes, well, we should probably do a second one because we might need it for the boys when they graduate from high school. So that morning I ordered another one, and it was April 1st. So I told the boys that we'd ordered 2, and they didn't believe me. They thought it was April 1st.
I love your kids.
Or are they going to be surprised in 2018?
Yeah.
Patrick, you actually went to a Tesla store, right?
I did. I didn't go wait in line. I actually just went to work that day, and then I left work early. I got to the store at about 2:30. There were 3 people in line in front of me. I was in line for 2 minutes, got my reservation, and left.
Wow.
Well, I missed all the hype, but I still ordered it in the store.
Cool. Well, you'll still get the special gift then.
Right, yeah, day 1 edition.
Yeah.
What's the special gift?
Well, Elon tweeted out that everyone that waited in line is going to get a special gift of some sort. It's just that it's going to take a while to get them out because they hadn't anticipated. He said this was 2 to 4 times as many people as anybody at Tesla had predicted would stand in line to order.
Nice.
Yeah, which will segue obviously into what we're talking about later here. But.
Yeah. Well, and where are we at? We're just up over 300,000 pre-orders?
I haven't seen an official that we're over 300,000, but it has to be over 300,000. I mean, we were at 290 something 2 or 3 days ago, and then there haven't been any other official numbers that I've seen come out. And last Elon tweeted was that he was going to reveal the 1 week numbers today, but I'm sitting here on his Twitter feed and it's not out yet. So, but there's speculation all over it. It's clearly over 300, and we don't know 354. Who knows? The numbers are just mind-boggling.
and I want to thank the 40,000 people who watched our Tesla live reveal event, which was amazing for us to have that many people. We had as many as 1,000 people watching us live, and since then, quite a few people have watched it. So thanks to all of you, and hopefully you're coming back and seeing the show. I guess I'm kind of curious what the panel thinks of 300,000 people putting down. Now, granted, that may not turn into 300,000 cars, but 300,000 people did cough up $1,000 cash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even if it was on a credit card, they charge that card right away.
Yep.
To hold a place in line to buy a car that barely existed for a good portion of them, and that they'd only really seen on video for the majority of them.
Oh, the first 115, 120, you had never even seen it on video.
Right.
Right. That's
You
true.
knew nothing about it.
Well,
Yeah.
Even the pent-up demand for the Leaf before it came out, it was tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands. So, I mean, we've come a long way in just a few years.
And that required no deposit, right?
$100 deposit.
$100.
That's right. Okay, so
$99.
yeah.
It's interesting in that, as Chelsea mentioned, EVs are the one category of vehicle where the manufacturers have always demanded that the customer demand would push them, would drive them forward. And it's the only type of vehicle that they've demanded the customer push them to make it rather than making a car and marketing it to people.
Right.
So I guess I'm wondering, have we invalidated all of those arguments now? Or is this still, I mean, I understand 300,000 vehicles isn't the world. We sell millions of cars every year. But it's a lot of cars.
But show another car that's 2 years away that people are putting a deposit on sight unseen and say, I'm going to wait for it.
Right. I mean, you'll see
Right.
that, a couple hundred in some really high-end sports cars that, some company put on concept, and big dollar people, that have to have the next best Porsche, the next best Ferrari will do that. But nothing like this. This is absolutely unprecedented.
Some of this, I want to speculate that some of it is the actual Tesla name. And I say that because one of my coworkers put down $1,000, or I should say, I think her husband put down $1,000 to get in line. And so this was over lunch. At one point, someone had asked, why they had decided to do this. She's not the kind of person you would expect to hop into an EV and drive around. And so her first response, the gut response, was that her husband really liked Teslas, but they're, $85,000 to $95,000. Now you can buy one for $35,000, and so he wanted to get in line to get a Tesla. And then a while later, she asked me how her electrical bill was going to be offset by the fact that you do have to charge these things, right? And I was thinking, oh my God.
It runs on unicorn farts.
So I mean, honestly, and I'm not trying to make light of her or her knowledge of EVs or anyone's for that matter, because everybody has a first day. Everybody has to learn for the first time. But I do have to wonder, of these 300,000 people, how many people are what we would consider fluent in electric vehicle terminology? Do they really, really understand that they're not just buying a Tesla, they're buying a technology?
I'm sure they're going to have a lot to learn. Like your friend's example there, where how much is this going to cost me when I plug it in? You think it costs a lot of money to fuel cars, and now I'm just going to be paying it on my electricity bill. And we know that's not the case. It's certainly a lot cheaper to travel with electricity than it is with gasoline, even at the current prices. But unless you've thought through that, you're going to have misconceptions.
Yeah, we did do the math, and it is a third. We pay about 8.5 cents per kilowatt hour, and we speculated that it would be maybe about a third the cost of 12,000 miles on gasoline at $2 versus 12,000 miles at 8.5 cents per kilowatt hour. But it's like, you know, we had to have these conversations, and I think there's a lot of people who are going to have these conversations.
Yeah, there was a lot of people in line that were interviewed with reporters and such, and it seemed that in the interviews I read that it was over half the people in line did not have a previous EV. Right. So there's a lot of pent-up demand of people wanting a Tesla, realizing they can't afford a Tesla for, you know, a time period, and now this comes out, and it seems like the floodgates opened up, and people just jumped at the chance.
Right.
Yeah. I think you're right, Tony. A lot of it is a Tesla brand. It's really cool. It's viewed as cutting edge. It's got autopilot features. It's got other stuff that is going to be difficult for old stodgy car brands to compete with.
Definitely.
Unfortunately, one thing that a lot of people will probably drop their reservations once they find out they can't get the federal tax credit, because there's only the first 100,000 or so will get it.
Yeah. It may be a little bit more than that if
200,000. I thought it was
200,000 total cars.
He's talking about how many
total cars.
Right.
Yeah.
And they've already sold 60 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Right. Assuming there's no changes in that.
And it's kind of interesting because it goes beyond that 200,000 limit. What happens is when they sell their 200,000th car, whatever quarter that happens in, that quarter continues to sell. Everybody gets a tax credit for that quarter, and the next quarter gets a full credit. So if Tesla, you know, saves up these cars and then waits till, say, January 1 and boom, starts shipping these things out, for the 200,000th car goes out day 1, then 200,000, however many they can deliver in that quarter and the next quarter are all going to get it too. So theoretically, if the factory's hopping and Tesla is careful in how they do it, they should be able to deliver that. And then even after that, it just drops to 50% of that. So you still get 3,750. Okay. So, you know, a lot of people are still going to get the credit even beyond that 200,000 mark. Now, certainly at some point it's going to end unless something changes with Congress and, you know, go Bernie.
There's some article out today how Tesla can hack the incentive system, and it talks about that exact strategy of make sure you hit that 200,000 at the beginning of a quarter, and then ship in over that next 6 months as many as they can.
Right. And you know,
and there's still a lot of state incentives too in various parts of the country.
Yeah. And you know, thinking not only about incentives and, you know, pressure that Tesla can put on lawmakers now, there's also, as we know, as we've discussed, Tesla trying to sell directly to the consumers, and you know, a lot of people didn't have any skin in the game, so they didn't really care. You know, with the Model S and maybe the Model X and the Roadster, it was, oh well, we'll let the rich people worry about that. But now we'll have hundreds of thousands of, let's just say, everyday voters who could put pressure on their local politicians to say, no, we want you to actually allow Tesla to sell directly to us and have you know, these things. So yeah, it's changing the landscape on many facets.
One other thing I'll just throw in is that just today a news story came across the wire about a British Columbia company with over 200 employees, and they offered to pay the deposit for the 200 employees for the Tesla Model 3. And apparently 65% of the employees took them up on the offer, so they expect to see 100+ Tesla Model 3s as the order starts to roll in at their British Columbia software office.
Wow.
Nice. They're going to be fighting for that charging station.
They have 3 chargers, apparently. They have 3 chargers, and they say that they're going to have to increase that exponentially, obviously.
Yeah. A little bit. Well, speaking of Tesla sales, and the Tesla obviously is an EV, let's go to Paul Guzik and talk about EV sales numbers. In the preview, which you may or may not have seen, that Danny and I did earlier today, we said April sales, which of course it's April 6th. These
How
are
are we
March
doing so
sales.
far?
Yeah. These are March sales that we're going to cover. So take it away, Paul.
Yeah, so this came from Inside EVs. Link will be in the show notes here, but March 2016, all-time record for plug-in electric vehicles, which is surprising because it's still $2 gas in most of the country. So the fact that EVs have the momentum now to keep breaking sales records, regardless of the price of gas, is pretty significant. Highlights of the chart. Number one is the Tesla Model S, 3,990 units, almost 4,000. Second place, Chevy Volt, 1,865. Nissan Leaf, 1,246. And one of the surprising ones, which I was even surprised, was the Porsche Cayenne SE plug-in, 244 units, all the way down to the Mitsubishi i-MiEV with 1 unit.
Wow.
And almost as bad, the Toyota Prius plug-in, the old one, not the Prime, 7 units in the country for the whole month of March. So.
Well, you gotta, yeah, I know, but considering, and I'm not trying to defend Toyota, but to be fair, they stopped manufacturing it
a year ago.
Yeah, they're just old stock on the lot.
So which means that what that actually means is these Prius PHVs may have been sitting on the lot for 9 months.
Yeah.
Okay. And can I just say that I'm amazed that Smart was able to sell 70 of their horribly named EDs.
Yes.
I mean, cheers to them. It's not, from what I understand, it's not a bad car. I've never driven it. But yeah, I mean, Mitsubishi sells 1 i-MiEV and Porsche sells 23 Panameras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 244 Cayennes.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's cool. I mean, and I think with all the Tesla news that came in very late in March, practically April, maybe it's going to get people into the showrooms to look at current models, and maybe next month they'll even sell more. So.
One of the things I would like to see on this chart, and I will say Inside EVs does a great job. Every month they report, and at the end of the year they always do a recap, and they do a great job of breaking down the sales figures. I would actually like to see this chart in terms of, I guess, range. I mean, I realize that would be difficult between like a Model S, a pure EV, and the Chevy Volt. But I kind of think that if we added more sort of analytics, we would be able to mine this chart a little better to see why certain models are coming to the top and why certain models are going to the bottom. I love data. I just think that would be pretty cool.
I love data.
Yes.
Well, I agree.
But also doesn't break down which ones are compliance cars and only available in certain states. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's.
Although the numbers are a hint.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Well. Oh, I was looking at my comments here all of a sudden. It is interesting. I wonder why the blip up this month. I mean, does anybody know is there a tax credit that's expiring or something?
Well, I know why the Chevy jumped, 200%, because they were coming from a car that was Generation 1 to Generation 2, and it was supply constraint to certain states, the 10 states that are CARB states, and it just opened to nationwide, so that's why they jumped.
Yeah, April would be interesting because the 2017 Volt just dropped nationwide, and I know they're selling them in retail in Colorado already, so there is a pent-up demand for the 2017 Volts. So
pent-up demand, I like that.
Yeah.
Well, we're just seeing the Model X ramp, and so that accounted for 1,600 extra sales there.
Right.
On that, and that's going to jump significantly in April and May as well. They finally got the door issues resolved, and I think we're going to see those numbers jump significantly.
Yeah, from 270 to 1,860. That's a big jump.
Does anybody want to speculate whether the Toyota Prius PHV will hit 0 before the new Prime hits lots?
Yeah.
I can't think of anything more trivial.
Actually, the iMev is still on the chart.
Yeah, that's actually.
No, let's see. Let's bet if the iMev beats the Prius PHV.
Yeah, I'd actually bet against it because if they're gonna probably be dumping whatever they've got left and getting them off the lots or wherever the heck they store it.
I'm amazed there's still some out there.
Yeah, well, when nobody buys them, they don't have anywhere to go.
If people
the Toyota dealer in North Dakota had to take one, to get his Tundras or something.
Right.
He can't sell.
Right. Well, Mark, I think you've got the next story for us tonight.
Yeah. A story came up about BMW having trying for a world record. So they tried to get as many i3s together as they could at a pre-function before a Formula E race in Long Beach, California. So this group of i3s and some i8s showed up, and unfortunately they did not break the record. But we did get some shots of it from the website that I'll put up here. And you can see there is a sea of i3s sitting here in this particular shot. Apparently they all got together and were able to do a lap around the Formula E track before the race. So it's kind of like a warm-up. So all these drivers got a chance to be on a Formula E track with their car, which I'm sure was exciting for them. And you can see them lining up here in the streets.
Yeah, I think that Formula E track are the streets of Long Beach.
It may be, yes.
Yeah.
So it would wrap around the shores there of the ocean, and quite a picturesque vista, I am sure. Never been there myself, but I understand it's very nice.
Long Beach?
It's got to be nice down by the water.
Wow. Well, scratch Long Beach off our list.
Now we're taking cities out.
Yeah. No. And I'm just thinking what Chelsea's going to do to me if she hears about this. So I'm just going to, Long Beach has always been a nice blue-collar sort of working coastal town. It's a huge port, and it's not. They've certainly spent a lot of money kind of dressing it up, but it's certainly never been like the glamorous coastal city. But yeah, no, it's cool.
Speaking of parade, can I interrupt here and say the Prius parade on April 23rd in the East Bay, Northern California. I'll put a link up. It's called priusparade.com. And they're trying to get the longest number of Priuses in a parade to get the Guinness Book of World Records. So there you go. Anybody in the East Bay or San Francisco area.
So it seems to be a popular thing to be doing.
Okay, so I'm going to institute a new What Drives Us policy. The next group that wants to be promoted for their Guinness Book of World Records attempt has to support. That's all. We're all for supporting you. You just need to support us.
Well, I think I read the Prius Parade. Someone who participates is going to get a new Prius as part of the deal.
Really?
So that's kind of cool.
So Toyota's helping out.
Well,
should be sponsoring
or a dealer or somebody, yeah.
What is it? Is it Berkeley Toyota? What's the?
It's in Alameda. It doesn't say who the dealer is.
Oh, it's in Alameda. But I thought isn't Berkeley Toyota a super aggressive Toyota dealer there?
They're pretty big, yeah.
Yeah.
And just as a side note at this function as well, BMW was not only there, but Faraday Future was sponsoring some of the event. So just thought I would mention that.
Did they bring their Bobcat Earth Mover?
They brought their concept vehicle and had it out on display. And apparently they had some drawings.
Was it outdoor? Didn't the wind blow it away?
Yeah.
Somebody tie a string to it and fly like a kite.
Styrofoam cutouts of it you could take home.
Made from the actual car.
Exactly. No, it's like the Berlin Wall. Everybody took a piece home.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who don't know, the Formula E race is a 11 race circuit that's happening this year. and they have a unique format where it's they drive half the race in one car, and then a driver has to pull over and jump into another car. He's still timed, and then take off to finish the race in the second car for the second half of the race.
Nice. Nice. I think that the real genius of Faraday Future's marketing department came through once again, in that they decided to sponsor this race, I think 11 days before it took place, which when you think about it, if you're going to dump a bunch of money into an event, getting 11 days exposure probably isn't like super, super bright, you know?
Yeah, you probably want to milk it a little bit longer than that.
You probably want to milk it for, let's just go crazy and say 3 weeks.
They have money to burn.
They
do.
All that Chinese cable TV money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, I will say this story has sort of motivated me. I think I'm going to try for a Guinness World Record. I'm going to see if I can get the most Chicagoans in a 20-mile radius. And the best part is they don't even have to know that they're participating.
You just draw a line around them.
Right.
Yeah.
You're just going to take a picture out your window. And
I'm pretty sure I could probably get like 7.5 million just
just looking out
in
the
the middle of
window.
a workday. Yeah.
Danny Cooper's burning up my text messages, and he says that the Northern California Prius Parade is being put on by the Northern California dealer region, and he says, hey moron, nice job on eradicating our Long Beach listener pool. I just want to, you know what? I just want to say that I actually like Long Beach, and I've always had a good time there.
So he has time to listen to the show.
I'm kind of that working class sort of guy, you know. I mean,
what a loser that he's not even on the show.
But he's watching and he's commenting.
He's a voyeur.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you hear something go, "Hey, moron," in the background, that's Danny Cooper's ringtone for texts. That's him. So hey, speaking of "Hey, moron," I wanted to talk about Faraday Future. My favorite electric car company. Nick Sampson is the head of Faraday Future. He did a bunch of press regarding their 11th hour sponsorship of the Formula E. And you know what? I'm glad that they sponsored the Formula E, although I think the whole thing could be kind of done a little bit better. I'm glad that they're supporting
like having a
that.
real car, maybe? Yeah.
Well, I mean, and having a real car. But I mean, the Formula E itself is cool, and I'd like to see people get into that rather than get into, you know, like more NASCAR or something. Nothing wrong with NASCAR. Enjoy it. I'm not gonna.
We've got all the southern states.
There we go.
I'm not gonna piss off all the NASCAR fans. I'm just saying
Too late.
that Formula E is totally cool, and I'm glad to see Faraday Future supporting that. So cheers to them for that. You did good, even if you did it stupidly. Speaking of stupid, Mr. Sampson said a couple of things that were interesting. He said about when asked a question about the Tesla Model 3, he said, and I quote, "It's not our competition." I hate to say it, but he's probably right, because Faraday Future doesn't sell anything at this point. And depending on whatever it is they decide they're going to sell, whether it's an electric unicycle or a tricycle or a car or a truck or a bus or an autonomous
Hoverboard.
three-wheeled spider car, maybe it will be competition, maybe it won't be. It's a little presumptuous, though, just to kind of bob it off.
Yeah.
It's not our competition. He did rather graciously say that it was great news, and I agree. You know what? A whole bunch of people buying a really cool EV is very good news.
Right.
Yeah, so technically he's right. The Model 3 is not their competition to what they're supposed to be building, and yet he's either naive or trying to play it off that way that, you know, if Tesla's highly successful, they can build. We know they can build an EV that can go really, really fast and be really, really cool looking, and they haven't built anything yet.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Exactly. And that's the hard part. Like, I'm glad he didn't criticize them, because if he had, it would have been really, really just like, I can't take this. You guys haven't built anything yet. At least let the people who built something, you know, be cool. And the whole it's not we're not competing with that car thing. I keep hearing that more and more in the car industry now. So ask so-and-so about their car, and they say, oh, well, that car isn't our competition. Guess what, car companies? You don't get to make that decision. Consumers make that decision. And if consumers are going, I want one of these or one of these, it's your competition.
Yeah.
So good luck telling them they're wrong.
So I don't know if you guys have seen, I found a picture of Mr. Sampson.
What is that?
This is the picture of Mr. Sampson. I did a Google of Sampson, and that's the picture I found.
Did you just say I did a Google?
I did a Google. I Google searched.
I did a Google.
No, I mean, right on. You can do a Google while we're recording the show. That's fine.
So yeah, every time I see Faraday Future's guy Nick Sampson, I always think of Brock Sampson. So I just had to put up a picture of Brock Sampson.
Nice. And you know what? My panel's going to have to forgive me. I forgot. Who's doing Saudi?
I am.
Evan. Oh, Patrick.
Patrick.
Okay, so let's enough with that. Let's go on and talk a little bit about Saudi Arabia. Patrick, Connor, take us away.
Okay, so I'm going to try to screen share this here.
Okay.
And see if I can get this up.
You
there.
do
You guys
that.
can all see it.
There you go.
Yes. So the Saudi government has a plan here where they're going to raise $2 trillion so they can figure out what they're going to do after the oil economy. And the article here goes into a bit of detail on how they're going to do that. They have a national oil company. They're going to do an IPO from that, and they're going to take those funds and put them into this public investment fund. And with this, they're going to be able to invest in a lot of different things. Now, who knows what they're going to do with it? It's a lot of money, assuming that their IPO goes the way that they plan for it to go. There's a comment here in the article that talks about how much money just this is. You can see it here. $2 trillion fund would have enough cash to buy Apple, Alphabet, also known as Google, Microsoft, Berkshire Hathaway, all together. So that is a lot of money. And if you look at countries that have natural resources like this that they're exploiting, they don't do a whole lot of investing in their people. You compare that to a country like India, and they're all about education and development of their people, and now they have people all over the world contributing to booming economies and advancing our technology. So hopefully Saudi Arabia will find some really good ways to use this and advance our world and not just continue to throw CO2 into the atmosphere and help us do that.
Be nice. Is that a wall they built there on the next picture down?
That's the Great Wall of Siemens.
That's the wall that Siemens built.
Yeah, that's the wall that Siemens built. One other sidelight to this Saudi story is I've also read a couple of stories that the Saudis are aggressively investing, oddly enough, in American real estate. They're also behind, and I don't want to go to tinfoil hat territory. I mean, all of this has been documented. They're also putting money into lobbying the groups that are currently seeking to move public lands into the private sphere. The idea is that the Saudis think that mining in America might be the next revenue stream for them. So make no mistake, they are aggressively and they're very forward-looking, more forward-looking, sadly, than we are at times. Looking at their future and going, you know what, we can't sell this stuff forever. We need to find other stuff that people will buy. And if it means buying land in the U.S. and digging stuff out of the ground and selling it back to us, they'll do it.
Yeah, I forget the name of the city, but there is a city that's not far from Abu Dhabi. Yeah, we'll go with that. And it is expected to be very soon. It's expected to be the world's very first carbon neutral city, entire city. So yeah, very, very forward looking. And of course, you know, they have a lot of sunshine. So, you know, a lot of solar, and they take a lot of wind. And so yeah, they as a country are getting off oil faster than their addicts are.
Well,
Right.
They're not consuming their own product.
Easier
They
for
make
them
a whole
because
lot more money selling it to us than they do consuming it themselves.
Similar to the structure is Norway. Actually, they are extremely clean there. They produce a ton of energy through geothermal, through wind, and yet they're a major oil producer in Europe. And it's like, yeah, we'll sell it to you. Then you'll be coming to us to figure out.
You guys do the math. We're gonna use something else.
Yeah.
It should be a clue, right? As long as Saudi Arabia doesn't start a two-front war, then $2 trillion should go pretty far.
Yeah.
They should probably use it to buy up the Bolivian lithium reserves.
I thought Toyota bought that like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
No, that was the Sudbury mine.
No. Seriously, we talked about it in one of the stories the first year. Toyota was aggressively investing in lithium mines in South America. So there are certainly people with a vision, and there you go. Speaking of a vision, let's talk finally tonight about China. And I think for that, I'm going to Evan Fusco.
Take that one.
Nope.
Still not me.
Tony, sorry.
I'll take
well, that's
China.
right,
Why
Evan,
not?
You're just here because you're cute. I get it.
That's right. Eye candy.
Yes. He's here for the ladies.
Put that in my lower third. Eye candy.
We're going to put that right there. Evan Fusco, for the rest of the night, the camera's going to be on you. Look good, Evan. Smile for the ladies.
Nice.
There you go. Smile for the Okay, on that note, Tony, please not help me.
Hold on, I almost threw up. All right.
This is me every week.
Yeah. So there was a 16-year engineering manager at Intel Corporation named, and I know I'm going to get this wrong, I'm sure of it, Gansha Wu, and he worked at the Intel Corporation and was a director and engineering manager at the Intel labs in China, and he listened to one guy in Intel tell the crowd of employees that if you don't do something, you will fail, meaning go do something bold. And then he attended another another presentation with Microsoft, and it said to be a leader is to design the future that is unpredictable and which no one bets on. And so he just couldn't get those things out of his head, and he decided that the future he was going to bet on, the thing that he was going to get out and do something, was to tackle China's growing automobile ownership and the congestion that is just consuming China as their middle class grows and they start clogging up all of the streets. And so he has put together what the industry insiders are calling an unusual supergroup of incredibly smart people who are aggressively tackling autonomous vehicles. Now, one of the reasons that it's predicted that Mr. Wu's team will be successful and there will be autonomous cars. I mean, and we're talking fully autonomous, what they call level 4 autonomy. One of the reasons that they're predicting that they're going to have level 4 fully autonomous vehicles in China before they will have them in the United States has a lot to do with regulations and government support. The Chinese government has a lot of incentives, personal incentives for the government to reduce the number of cars that are on the road, to make the cars fully autonomous. Whereas here in the United States, as we have discussed many times, people are just scared of fully autonomous vehicles, and nobody wants, you don't want to be driving down the road and look over and see that there's nobody in the car next to you. I mean, that just freaks people out. The Chinese government is really pushing this. So they are removing barriers to make autonomous vehicles not only regulated, but more publicly accepted. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to have a perfectly smooth road, quite literally, because one of the big hurdles that Mr. Wu has mentioned is, and if I can quote here, roads often have poorly marked lanes and little signage. There are people, animals, three-wheeled rickshaws, and trucks that are liable to veer in front of a car at any time. So, I mean, here we're just worried about unmarked streets and yellow, delimiters that you can't see. Over there, yeah, they're literally worried about rickshaws running in front of autonomous vehicles.
Pothole rickshaw.
Yeah. So this was in the New York Times, and I felt that it was a very interesting read. And I do think that whatever they come up with in China will eventually find its way over here, especially if they have all these barriers and hurdles that they have to overcome. It just means that they will develop better, tighter, faster algorithms to analyze the situations faster, and then that'll hopefully make its way into our autonomous vehicles.
Let's hope so. I mean, if the hardware is as good as the infamous Chinese hoverboards.
Oh no!
Cars just spontaneously combustion.
Always buy the most expensive Chinese product.
Yes.
Yeah, the one that costs the extra $30.
And if they sell it at Harbor Freight, it's probably not worth buying.
Yeah.
Ouch. You can tell who works with tools here.
Yeah.
Because Paul, just about every other week there's a Harbor Freight mention from you, which I love hearing, by the way. I think that's wonderful. I actually
go ahead, Russell.
No. I'm sorry, Patrick.
Tying this back to our earlier Model 3 discussion, one of the things in the announcement was that all Model 3s will have the hardware for their autonomous drive, autopilot feature, and the safety portions of that will be running all the time. So lane departure warnings and other things.
Right.
That means that they're going to be able to collect data as people drive. And if they put out 300,000 of these, they'll be collecting data on roads all across the country. They'll have people actually driving them, assuming they didn't buy that feature, and they can use that to determine what they should do in these ambiguous situations. So just the amount of data that they'll get from that will be very valuable in deploying it and making it work at the next level.
Absolutely true.
Yeah,
absolutely true. The more data for something like that, the better.
So I think the ultimate answer, though, is that you've got to remove those completely unpredictable elements. You can build the best algorithm on the planet, but you don't know when the donkey is going to veer into the road, from the curb, and no algorithm can predict that. That's the challenge.
What you're suggesting is autonomous donkeys?
Autonomous donkeys, I'm pretty sure, yes.
I'm not sure what you're suggesting.
But the intelligent car could probably react faster than a human in that situation.
Exactly.
Probably, but that
I mean
it can avoid the collision. I mean, what I'm getting at, though, is that I think the ultimate answer is that you have to remove all those variables. And when every car on the road's autonomous, there will never be a crash. They'll be able to communicate. They'll be able to communicate with each other. They'll know what each one is going to do. They will stop and go at the appropriate times and places. I mean, there wouldn't be any reason for there to ever be an accident because they would all.
You're assuming that they're only interacting with cars, though. Your example was a perfect one of a donkey runs out into the road that they weren't communicating with. So there are unpredictable things, and once you have a ton of steel moving down the road at high velocity, there's only so many options. And even if you had the world's best driver behind the wheel, in some cases there's going to be a wreck.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You've got to remove the human element in the variable elements. I mean, ultimately, it's many years away. But if you just get in your car and tell it where to go, and there's never a human at the wheel,
that doesn't make it flawless. There's still the real world with real problems, and the cars they have to obey the laws of physics. Right. So there will still be problems. There still will be. Granted, they will be much fewer, but there will still be accidents.
I think, and I'm not going to speak for Evan because Evan's more than articulate enough to speak for himself, but I think what he might be bringing up, or what I'm hearing, is that one of the costs and one of the responsibilities for autonomous cars is that we have to update our infrastructure. And if that means putting up donkey-proof fences in some places, I mean, humorously, but I mean, obviously, but there's things like that have to be done. That are just trying to make an autonomous car that can account for every possible crazy thing.
Right. So in some ways that sounds kind of crazy that you could have a roadway that only autonomous cars could travel on, but it's not that extreme. I mean, if you compare the American interstate system, that essentially there's nothing else on the interstate but cars and trucks. Very rarely you'll get a hitchhiker out there. Very rarely you get a bicyclist out.
Almost never a donkey.
But no donkeys. No, right, exactly. And so, but if you go to India or go to Cambodia, those roads are used by humans, dogs, donkeys, motorcycles, rickshaw-type vehicles, and high-speed motor vehicles, all traveling at different rates of speed in different directions, obeying different laws and rules of the road, and that's their interstate as far as it goes. So we've advanced in this country to a certain place. Yes, it's many years down the road, but I think there will be eventually dedicated roadways for autonomous vehicles, and I do think that it'll be a time that those vehicles will be able to communicate with one another, and we really won't see wrecks, and they'll be able to travel at high speeds.
It certainly looks like there's a big market for the Seaman wool.
Seaman walls. Or I think they're just called a wall of Siemens. I think.
Oh, and on that high point.
You know what? Well, real quick, I do want to say one thing, and I do think that this would help, maybe. But you had mentioned we'd mentioned infrastructure setup. The one thing that scares me the most about vision-based autonomous vehicles, by which I mean there's a camera, and the camera is analyzing what it sees and it's making reactions based on what it sees, is we have snowfalls here in Chicago, and I know you guys get them up in Canada. I mean, of course. You have snowfalls where even the humans don't know where the roads are.
Yep.
So what would a vision-based autonomous car do in that situation? It would do what most humans do and just either lock up or just drive for the hell of it.
LiDAR.
Well, by the time all this stuff is more real, there'll be like the next-gen GPS that's accurate to 1 centimeter or something. So
you know what? My thing is, I'm actually thinking that somehow lay a cable down the middle of the lanes and a sensor on the bottom of the cars, and you're literally like talking about track cars, but they would know where the road is no matter what's on the road.
Russell's got a shot of one of those donkeys that he has down in his area.
Down in Florida, yeah. This is the road hazard in Florida. Go ahead, drive over him, I dare you.
Here's the donkey that
poor donkey.
No, that's not right.
It's not actually a dead donkey.
Hey, Russell, I think we have our show title.
Yeah.
Donkeys and gators.
If you haven't heard this story, Google it. It's about the Google autonomous car and the donkey encounter that it had.
That's like the car won.
That's horrible.
The car. Everybody thought that the car had hit and killed the donkey, but that's not what happened.
Nice. Who killed the petrol car? No one yet. Interesting idea, though. Well, that's let's wrap it up. That's our news for this week. Let's do our shout-outs, and let's start first with our man in my favorite Tesla T-shirt, Evan.
I don't have a shout-out. If you reserve the Model 3, I still moderate TeslaMotorsClub.com, probably the premier site currently until Danny gets his act together and gets a Tesla chat up, and a lot of good information to find there.
That's a ringing endorsement, Evan, for both Tesla chat and Tesla. the other one?
Motors.com.
Tesla.
Motorsclub.com. Tesla
Motors Club, right, as opposed to Tesla Motors. Or now it's Tesla.com. They were finally able to secure that.
True that.
That's right.
True that. Well, speaking of true that, Mr. Connor.
Hello. I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. And I occasionally blog at carswithcords.net.
All right.
Wow, thank you. That was quick and unexpectedly quick, I guess.
Now, I should have thrown to Tony and just
No, that's fine. Speaking of Tony, go ahead, Tony. Take it away.
Well, I want to make sure everybody knows about What Drives Us on Facebook. It's make sure you go to facebook.com/whatdrivesus, all one word. And I got to tell you, I was going through our notifications. I was looking for shout-outs, and I came up with like 24 different shout-outs. We picked up a lot of new likes, and I think that's awesome. Alexis Jonathan, Danny Bryant, Sam Walsham gave us a new like recently. Mitch Walrich, Matt Garrison, someone named Aurelia Coughlin. Mark, anyone you know?
Might be my mother.
Wow.
Or Orly Coughlin.
Yeah.
Well, thank Mark's mom.
Yeah, and and I could just do Trevor George and Igor Ovalich, Orlovich. I'm terrible with names. I get everyone's name incorrectly. Lee Moon, I can pronounce.
Yeah, Lee Moon. I'm good with that one.
I can do that one. Yeah, and shout out to some of our lesser participating members: Evan Fusco, Pat Connor.
Okay. I'm gonna cut his mic. Oh wait, that's me. I have the control. Mr. Guzik, take it away, sir.
Yeah, just plug in Boulder Hybrids, website boulderhc.com. We service and repair hybrid cars, electric cars, pretty much cool cars, but not gas cars, in Boulder, Colorado. So check us out.
Pretty much cool cars, but not gas cars.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Well, hybrids have a gas.
No, that was good. That was good. I like that subtle little sticking the shiv in and twisting it a little bit. That's nice.
Unfortunately, we don't work on hydrogen cars yet.
No, yeah, because they're dangerous.
Yeah.
Mr. Coughlin.
Yes, just wanted to give a shout out to my mom, obviously.
Awesome.
And also to the Waterloo Regional Voltec group. And appreciate you following us. And if you can have interest in the cars, please follow us at WR Voltec on the Twitter feed.
Always a good follow on Twitter at WR Voltec. So let's see, boulderhc.com, Tesla Chat or something that maybe or doesn't exist. And of course, Patrick, oeva.org. Let me give you a whole bunch of acronyms and URLs and things like that now. As always, I want to thank Michael Mannering for our theme music. You can find him at manthing.com. Of course, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/whatdrivesus. As Tony kindly told you, we love it when you come there, join, like the page, talk to us, argue with us. It's all there. We do grab some of our news stories from Facebook too, so we appreciate you stopping in and saying hi. Our main site, whatdrives.us, you can download or stream the show in video or audio format there. You can also get our show through your favorite podcatcher, whether it's Stitcher or TuneIn or iTunes. And of course, we ask if you do subscribe that way, leave us a review once in a while and say something nice, because our egos are very fragile and we need the help.
It's true.
So I want to thank our panel. Thanks, guys. Nice show.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
You guys are here so I don't have to be smart, and that makes me feel good about myself. So thank you. And once again, YouTube/whatdrivesus. You can watch our Tesla reveal show like the 40,000 other people have, or any of our other current videos, any of our old shows, and some new stuff that we're putting up. So do check us out at youtube.com/whatdrivesus. Until then, I'm going to say good night. Download us next week and find out what drives us. See ya. Say bye, kids.
Bye, kids.
Bye, kids.
Kids.
Oh,
Episode
geez.
180.
I can't believe you guys actually did that. Wow. I mean, see ya.